Hello students and welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Shefali Nagpal, Associate Professor at Human Resource Development Center, Bhagat Phool Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Sonipat. We are studying the paper Development of the Management Thoughts, Principles and Types under Human Resource Management. Today we will discuss about the very important concept of training and development. After completing this module, you would be able to understand the concept of training and development and the difference between the two. To understand the meaning and the definition of training and development, the significance or the benefits of the training and development, understand the process of learning and the basis of training and development. Also, you would be able to understand the process of training and development. If you wish to plan for a year, sow seeds. If you wish to plan for 10 years, plant trees. If you wish to plan for a lifetime, develop men. This is one of the Chinese adage. An organization ability to learn and translate that learning into the action rapidly is the ultimate competitive advantage. This is what the former general of electric company CEO Jack Welch has said. Only thing worse than training your employees and having them leave is not training them and having them stay. This is what the Henry Ford has said, the founder of the Ford Motor Company. The way your employees feel is the way your customer will feel, and if your employee doesn't feel valued, neither will your customers. This is what the Sybil F. has said, who is the marketing and the organizational advisor. Now let us begin with the topic. After recruiting and placing a right candidate on the job, it is time to train and develop those employees according to the skill set and the job profile. It is basically to create a person job fit and person organization fit. Training is a process whereby the focus is on enhancement of the skills, knowledge and attitude of the employees so that they can excel in their current job, while development focuses on overall development, which is required not only for the present job but for the future job as well. Development is for the promotion of the employees and to make them competent for the future job profiles. It is commonly said that moment a person stops learning, his or her decline starts from there only. A day without learning is a day without breathing. But training and development encompasses learning where one has to defreeze the old ways of doing things and freeze the new way and further refreeze the new learning so that it becomes permanent and it becomes the integral part of the personality of a person. Now, why learning is important? Because change is inevitable everywhere, be it social, political, economic, technological. All changes forces pushes an organization for movement from its current state to the desired or future state. This all depends upon intensity of resisting forces and change forces which will make organization see a change or no change or maintenance of status quo. With the organizational change, structure, processes, systems also witness a change. Hence, the skill set, management skill set also get revised and thus necessitates a need for training and development. Change is both reactive as well as proactive. Hence, depending upon the approach of an organization, training and development sometimes is due to reaction to the changes, but organizations which are proactive in nature treat change as inevitable. Hence, they create built-in systems of training and development which not only continuously train and develop their employees but also keep the learning spirit alive and make the organization learning organization. Now, let us study and understand the training and development through its various definitions. The various authors have defined and redefined training and development in the different ways. The basic purpose of studying these definitions is to observe changes that have taken place in defining the training and development over the years. According to the Black, in 1961, he defined training is defined as imparting job knowledge to the employees so that they may carry out the orders smoothly, efficiently, and cooperatively. In 1970, Otte defines training as any activity which deliberately attempts to improve a person's skill at task. According to the Hessling, in 1971, training as a sequence of experiences or opportunities designed to modify behavior in order to attain a stated objective. According to the Nadler, in 1971, training includes those activities which are designed to improve human performance of the job employee is presently doing or being hired to do. Hamlin in 1974 explains training is an activity which deliberately attempts to improve a person's skill on job. Training and development is described as maintenance subsystem intended to improve organizational efficiency by increasing routinization and predictability of the behavior. Katz and Khan in 1978. According to the Edwin B. Flippo in 1984, he describes training as the act of increasing knowledge and skill of an employee for doing a particular job. HRD is defined as the organized learning experience conducted in a definite time period to increase the possibility of improving the job performance and growth. Training refers to the methods used to give the new and present employees the skill they need to perform their jobs, as explained by the story in 1994. Training is an organized activity for increasing the knowledge and the skills of the people for the definite purpose. It involves systematic procedures for transferring technical know-how to the employees so as to increase their knowledge and skills for drag specific jobs with proficiency. The core element of the training and development in above definition is imparting job knowledge so that individuals can perform their jobs smoothly and well. Ashwath Thapa in 2000 described the term training that indicates a process involved in improving the aptitudes, skills, abilities of the employees to perform the specific jobs. Training helps in updating the old talent and developing the new ones. Successful candidates placed on the jobs need training to perform their duties effectively. Training and development are planned learning experiences that teach workers how to perform their current or future jobs effectively. Training and development is defined as the process of systematically developing work-related knowledge and expertise in the people for the purpose of improving performance as described by the Swanson and Halton in the year 2001. Training and development is defined as managing knowledge to develop the organization culture to enhance the individual performance and strengthen the organization capability. Krempel and Pace defined it in the year 2001. According to the Michael Armstrong in 2001, training is systematic development of the knowledge, skills and attitudes required by an individual to perform adequately in a given task or job. According to the Linton and Parekh in 2002, training is one that consists largely of well-organized opportunities for participants to acquire necessary understanding and skills. Definitional exploration after the 2000 reveals that training and development as a process, planned learning experience, systematic development of the knowledge, skills and attitude, well-organized opportunities, etc. The most exhaustive and interesting definition is the one given by the Krempel and the Pace in the year 2001, where the core element is managing knowledge and the end results are development of the organizational culture, enhancement of the individual performance and strengthening of the organizational capability. Training and development, a distinction. Training and development should be a continuous process which tends to improve the knowledge, skill and attitude of the employee to perform better at their current job and grooming and preparing them to take the charge of the higher positions. Training is considered as short-term process while development is regarded as long-term process. The training focuses to improve the skill set for the better performance at the current position while development focuses on ameliorating not only the skill set but also the overall development of the employee to assume the charge of the higher position in that organization as well as in other organizations. Training therefore is most centered on technical aspect, while development focuses on managerial, leadership and behavioral aspect of job. The training is narrower term as its scope is smaller. For example, Excel training, 5S training, GMP training, safety training, etc. While development focuses on the areas like communication skills, interpersonal skills, team building, conflict management and leadership skills. Training and development is an intervention which is used for organizational change. Basic goal under the training is development of the workforce, while the focus is on development of the organization executive talent. Training and development both involve the learning. Let us discuss the significance and the benefits of the training and development. The organizational growth is directly proportional to the growth and development of its workforce. Able, committed, productive employees can take the organization to the new heights. This is an age of talent hunting, talent development and talent management. In 1997, Stephen and McKinsey and Company coined the term the war for talent. Michael Settle described in the book The War for Talent an increasingly competitive landscape for recruiting and retaining the talented employees and the mindset that focuses on the importance of the talent of the success of any organization. The talent can be defined as some combination of the sharp strategic mind, leadership ability, emotional maturity, communication skill and ability to attract and inspire other talented people, entrepreneurial instinct, functional skills and ability to deliver results. Michael et al. Have emphasized on various abilities and skill talent should possess. Thus, it speaks volume about the importance of development of the talent pipeline. At an individual level, the training ensures enhancement in the knowledge, skill and attitude. Individual performance levels are increased. It harnesses the creativity among the employees and the individuals. Through training, individual employees can get better adjusted into the organizational changes. Commitment level increases, a sense of belongingness is developed, better decision making and effective problem solving skills are developed, increase in the self-confidence, job satisfaction will also rise, training will develop a sense of achievement and growth, helps individual in becoming good employees, good human beings as well as good citizens. At the group level, it helps in formation of the cohesive groups, information flow or communication between the groups and individuals, facilitate the formation of think tanks. Group thinking can be reduced with the training and development. With the use of the group decision making techniques like Delphi, brainstorming, nominal etc., better decision making can be ensured. Thus, training and development facilitate better group performance. At organizational level, productive employees will yield to better organizational productivity, better financial performance or profitability, satisfied investor and other stakeholder. High employee morale will ensure the satisfied customer. It will motivate the employees, reduce the accidental rate, increases the safe work environment, improves organizational culture, make the organizational policies, rules and regulations more viable to all, creates an organizational climate for growth, learning and development, make the organization a best place to work with, and also improves the goodwill of the organization. Thus, it will be able to attract more talented employees. Learning an essential component in training and development. Learning is any relatively permanent change in the behavior that occurs as a result of experience. Learning include change in behavior, change in the way we think, feel, judge and eventually behaves. If there is no change in the behavior, that means no learning has taken place. Changes are relatively permanent. Changes which are not permanent may only be reflexive in nature. That means which are spontaneous, unconscious or automatic. Learning is no learning if change is not permanent. That means conscious efforts on the part of individual to retain and inculcate that learning in him or her. Due to experience, the basis of learning is experience. experience may be by observation or practice, by reading, listening, doing, observing others. Now let us look at the principles of learning. The first principle is principle of motivation, another is principle of feedback, third is reinforcement, fourth is practice, fifth is transferable, and sixth is relevance. Let us see at a glance all the principles. The principles of motivation. The principle of motivation states that if subject, that means individual, is motivated to learn something, then his learning will get augmented as motivated employee will be ready to channelize his energy in the right direction. Motivation sometimes is intrinsic and sometimes it is extrinsic. If employees are not intrinsically motivated to learn through the counseling or by telling the advantages of learning as in training, it will give a boost to confidence, self-esteem and will help furthering promotion, etc. Employees can be motivated so as to enhance his learning. Then principle of feedback. Feedback is very essential part in the learning process. According to the Ken Blanchard, feedback is the breakfast of the champions. This statement is the crux about the importance of feedback. Through feedback, one tends to know about their performance, chance to improve upon that. According to the Grant Wiggins, learners need endless feedback more than they need endless teaching. To facilitate learning, intentions of the feedback should be fair and purpose should always be to help others. Another principle is principle of reinforcement. To enhance the learning, one need to be positively rewarded to the behaviors rather than negatively punished behaviors. Principles of practice. As they say, practice makes the man perfect. This adage talks about volumes about the principles of practice. Through sheer repetitions of the learning process, the behavior becomes permanent. As practice requires hard work and there is no substitute for hard work. Principle of transferable. It is concerned with transferring of learning to praxis or actual job. Ultimately, learning has to be practiced in job and thus it would create a value. Therefore, learning process must ensure transferability of behavior into praxis. Principle of relevance. Learning material should be in cognizance with the training objective of the organization. Otherwise, it will lose its relevance and hence would not enhance the learning among the individual. Therefore, relevance is very important aspect in learning. Now, let us discuss the laws of learning. The laws of learning, as you can see in the chart, there are primary laws of learning and secondary laws of learning. In the primary law of learning are law of affect, law of exercise, law of readiness. Let us discuss one by one. The law of affect. The law of affect works on the rule that behavior is a function of consequence. When learning is associated with pleasant consequences, learning gets strengthened, and when it is associated with the unpleasant consequences, then learning gets weakened. Therefore, learning will be effective when the learner derives satisfaction and pleasure out of it. Law of exercise, also known as a law of use and disuse. In technical language, stimulus response connection gets stronger with use and weakened with disuse. In simple words, learning gets faster with repetition or repetitive use. Practice makes the things permanent but not perfect unless correct things are made to learn. Therefore, right content and practice ensure effective learning. Law of readiness. SR, that means stimulus response connection, is strengthened when the subject is physically, emotionally and mentally ready. That means adjusted to receive the stimuli. Conversely, if the subject is not ready to receive the stimuli, the learning process will get hampered. Secondary laws of learning. Law of primacy. Things learned fast create a strong retention and impression in the mind of the subject or learner. Therefore, the first thing should be procedurally correct. For example, a professor, by being punctual, enters into the class first and do not allow the students who come late in the class create the first impression would be to ensure the punctuality in the class in the whole semester. Law of recency. Subject is quicker to learn the most recent thing. Recapitulation at the end of the lecture helps in retaining the gist of the lecture. Keeping in mind the laws of recency, sequence of lecture should be adjusted. Law of intensity. Higher the intensity of the material taught, higher will be the learning. Adding the different methodologies, praxis, simulations, role plays, gamification will add to the intensity of the lecture, and subject is more likely to retain the things. Law of freedom. Things learned in the open and the free environment are easily learned. Learning is a free way, is like a play. Participation of the students, interactive sessions, and where the students learn all in their inhibitions definitely leads to intellectual stimulation and advancement of learners. Next is the training process. Though various models are used in explaining the training process, but AD is the very common used training framework that covers generic processes which training designers and managers use. AD stands for analysis, design, development, implementation, evaluation and control. The first four phases are sequential in nature, but the evaluation and control phase is a continuous process because it works simultaneously with all other four phases and provide formative information, evaluation and finally summative evaluation. AD first appeared in 1975. It was created by the Center for Educational Technology at Florida State University for the US Army and then quickly adapted by all the US Armed Forces. Method used in training need assessments. Training need assessment addresses present problem and future challenges that are to tackled with training and development or with some other related interventions. Training need assessment happens at the two levels, one is at the individual level and another is at the group or organizational level. Following methods are used at individual level: performance appraisal, interviews, attitude surveys, questionnaires, observation, rating scales, work sampling. At group level or the organizational level, organizational goals or objectives, exit interviews, MBOs, quality circles, job satisfaction, job commitment survey, organizational climate survey, skill or management inventories, future plans and strategies of the organization, current and future trend in the workplace. All these methods help to identify various training needs of the employees at the individual or the group or the organizational level, and even these methods are used to pinpoint individual and group performance deficiencies and aid in suggesting methods which can rectify these performance deficiencies. So, training manager can recommend training or non-training measures to improve upon the deficiencies. Other cause could be the wrong selection, faulty job design or compensation, etc. Therefore, non-training measures like right selection, placement or job redesign or job or equitable compensation package can remove all these deficiencies. Training and development objectives. After assessing the training needs, training and development goals must be established. Objectives give direction to the training manager and thus facilitate him or her in designing the training and development programs and also to evaluate the training and development sessions, because objective provide a set of standards at knowledge, skill, attitudinal level to match after the training and development programs are delivered to the employees. Design the training and development program. Design include the following questions to be answered while designing the training and development program, like who are the participant, whether they are at the top level, middle level or lower level, who are the trainer, individual, group, in-house, third party, methods and techniques, level of training, learning principles needed, training budget, training venue and timing, training standards to be evaluated. Development. Development of training material. After preparing the design about training programs, next job is to develop the training material based on the particular design. Therefore, depending upon participants, budget, timing, trainers, levels of training and principles of learning, objectives, etc., training programs are developed. Implementation. Implementation of the training program. This phase consists of the actual implementation of the training program to the concerned trainees. Implementation should seek to create a proper milieu for the learning and active participation. In implementation, trainers should ensure the proper transfer of the learning from the trainer to trainees. Continuous feedback from the trainer through their interest, participation, curiosity, etc. should be gauged to ensure the proper implementation. Various models are used to evaluate the training programs. Model name itself represents the facets which these models assess and evaluate. Evaluation: refine and revise the program. Once the training program is developed and implemented to trainees, it ought to be evaluated in terms of enhancement in knowledge, skill, attitude. For this pre and post training data can be compared. Actual application of the knowledge in the job can be vouched to see the changes, although the attitudinal change is not easy to measure as it takes some time to adopt a new attitude. Students, let us now summarize about training and development what we have read in this module. Training and development plays a consequential part in multidimensional growth of an employee, team and organization. Training and development brings with themselves a learning experience which in turn helps to remain updated and embrace the change. Training and development are distinct from each other, but both go hand in hand as training is required for development. Training and development is an important function of human resource management. Even sometimes it is defined as HRD function of HRM. As the world is becoming global village and lot MNCs are operating in India, competitive scenario is changing. Training and development of the employees is considered as a key strategic factor for any organization. These days, organizations expand huge amount of resources for training and development of employees. Organizations have separate departments for this purpose. Training manager work in tandem with HR manager. Training process include analysis, design development, implementation and evaluation of training program. As training encompasses learning, therefore, trainers should understand various laws and principles of learning. The first training needs are assessed, then according to the training needs at the different levels, training programs are designed and developed. Thereafter, the process involves the actual implementation and evaluation which test whether there is the actual transfer of learning to the employees. Therefore, according to the objectives and resources of an organization, training managers should formulate various strategies to train and develop the employees. That is all. Thank you.